thank everyone for coming out this evening for our Golden Gate Septic to Sewer Conversion Project. As you can see, we are highly recommending that if you have masks to please use them, or at least follow social distancing requirements. My name is Phil Keithley. I'm the project manager for this project. Tonight we have with us Sam Emerson, who's the director of the Utilities and Solid Waste Department. We have representatives from the engineering firm that designed this project, Mr. John Cole and Mr. Dennis Croyle. And then we have various staff members from the Utilities Department that are going to assist with the presentation this evening. I'm going to make a short presentation, a slideshow. I'll try to provide as much information as possible. And then we're going to open up for questions and answers. And we would ask when you do that, if you would please move towards one of these mics that are available so that everyone in the room can hear you. Also, we're videotaping this for those people that either chose not to attend because of the COVID situation or just for future reference. After you make your presentation or question to the mic, somebody will come up and make sure that they use an alcohol wipe to wipe off the mic for the next person in line. Our engineering firm is at the back table. Once the presentation is over, if you would like to go visit with them about specifics of the project and how it affects your particular property, you're more than welcome to do that. And tonight we are going to stay here as long as we need to answer any questions. And as I stated earlier, there will be a video of tonight's presentation on the web page, probably starting early next week. Highlighted in red on this map are the benefited properties of this particular project. There are 766 single-family, multifamily, and commercial benefited parcels in the project area. We're going to be constructing what's called a vacuum-assisted gravity sewer system, along with a vacuum pump building to serve the area. The system will have backup generator on site, which will provide for continuous service during powder outages or storm events or whatever the case may be. With elimination of the on-site septic tank and drain field on your individual properties, it could potentially allow for future expansion of your existing facilities on site because the septic tank and drain field will be eliminated. And all properties will be serviced with a sanitary sewer service lateral to each individual property, constructed out along the roadway in the road right-of-way, and we will extend those service lines up to and adjacent to the property at the right-of-way property line. We expect construction of the project to last about 24 months from the notice to proceed, and it has to be completed before any physical connections can be allowed to the system. As part of this project, we applied for a grant to the state of Florida legislature a couple of years ago. We were awarded with a $2 million grant to help buy down the project. Also, to help buy down the project, there are what are called local state revenue sharing, and that amounts to about $1,300,000 to help buy down the project. This project was prioritized and ranked number 2 out of 24 separately identified areas within Martin County's utility service area by an engineering study that was commissioned by the Board of County Commissioners in 2015 in connection with an environmental study also commissioned by the Board of County Commissioners, which identified significant contributions of nitrogen and phosphorus loading from septic tanks in this area, among others. The overall septic to sewer conversion program for Martin County to eliminate approximately 10,000 septic tanks in the next 10 years is a program adopted by the board in response to a myriad of environmental issues specific to Martin County due to its immediate proximity to the C-44 canal flowing from Lake Okeechobee, the St. Lucie Estuary, the Indian River Lagoon, and Atlantic Ocean through the St. Lucie Inlet, as well as compliance with a federal government mandated Basin Management Action Plan. Both of these studies are available on our webpage at www.martin.fl.us. And now for the information I'm sure you've been waiting for. The total construction cost of the project was $3,000. When you add in the engineering contingencies and CEI services of about $1,170,000, also the capital facility charges at $2,100 each, which is the dollar amount that is paid by every customer that connects to Martin County Utilities sewer area. So we have a total of 835.5 equivalent residential connections times the $2,100 for $1.75 million. We have soft costs, legal counsel, and government services for management of the assessment throughout the years, with a subtotal of almost $13 million. You deduct the legislative appropriations grant of $2 million. Also deduct the state revenue sharing program of $1.3 million for a total assessable cost of approximately $9.65 million. When you take the number of ERCs into that number, you come up with a per equivalent residential connection prepay amount of $11,561. The $11,561 will not be due until August 1st of 2022. If we do not receive the payment, the lump sum payment by that date, then it would automatically revert to the annual tax bill that comes out in November of 2022. It would be amortized over 20 years as a non-ad valorem assessment on the tax bill, and that not to exceed amount on an annual basis would be $633.48. You should note, though, that the annual payments that will be made, we were able to acquire a state revolving fund loan, which is at 0% interest over the 20 years, so that the only additional items you'll be paying is fees to the tune of 8.75% on an annual basis. And if you do the math over the full 20 years, it adds up to approximately $1,100 in fees over the amortization 20 years. This is an example of a residential wastewater bill. Our utility services about 36,000 water customers, and out of those, approximately 26,000 are sewer customers. Our average customer uses approximately 6,000 gallons per month, and our rate per 1,000 gallons is $4.57. So if you take the 6 times the 457, you come up with $27.42. You add that to what's called a base facility wastewater charge of $18.70. That amount is charged every month, whether sewer service is applied to it or not. So a total average monthly bill for sewer would be approximately $46.12. And that's over and above the water charges that you're already paying on your bill. We have completed all of the detailed design and permitting The initial assessment resolution was presented to the board on August 11th, 2020. The final assessment resolution, which you should have also received invitations to, will occur on September the 15th this month. If approved by the Board of County Commissioners, we will commence construction in November of 2020, and we hope to complete construction by November of 2022. And as I stated before, if we do not receive the lump sum payment of the assessment, it will show up as a line item on your tax bill, amortized over 20 years in November of 2022. That concludes my initial presentation. We'll be happy to take any questions, provide answers, and we'll stay here as long as it takes to provide all the answers that we need for your questions. If you wouldn't mind, if you want to make your way to a microphone to ask a question, that would be very helpful. I was going to say I must have done a good job. Please, sir, so it'll be a part of the record.
All right, my name, can you hear me through here? No. Hello, my name is Bob Rice. I have a question. Who's going to disconnect the septic tank and who's going to connect the new sewer system?
Excuse me.
Okay.
You will have two choices. You as a property owner can go to bid, or however you perceive it, with local plumbers to give you bids and then make that physical connection. Martin County Utilities presently has a program in place where you can come to us, sign some documents to allow us to work on your property. We have gone out to bid with local plumbing agencies and taken our low bidders. We will then take those documents. You can pay the fees directly to us based upon the estimate for your property, and we will oversee and manage the actual construction on your site and make sure that everything is returned back to the way it was before we started construction. Presently, the way it works is if you do go through the utilities department, not only have we gone through the competitive bid process, but you will not have to pay, or your plumber would not have to pay, a Martin County building permit fee, and would not have to pay the Martin County Health Department septic tank abandonment fee.
Who would I contact then? I would contact you, or?
Well, since this project's going to be 2 years, I'm sure we're going to go out to bid again because this existing contract will expire. So once we have that information, we will be disseminating that to you when we get close to completing construction.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Any other questions? Here we go.
Hi, Jan Del Corso. I have a fairly new septic system. Do I have to hook up to this new one when it's in place?
Yes, ma'am. As established by the Board of County Commissioners, this program is a mandatory connection program. So the way that will work is after construction is completed, let's say 24 months from November, we will send out a letter notifying every property owner that the system has been completed and is now available for connection. If by Florida statute, you will be allowed an additional 365 days to make that physical connection to our system.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Christine Bell, and I have the question that the first gentleman asked, but he failed to ask what the approximate cost is for hookup.
I'm sorry, could you get a little closer to the mic?
The first gentleman asked what the procedure was for hookup, and I'm sure you have an estimate from the prior people that are hooking up the plumbing through the utilities department. What is that, a roundabout number?
Our bid went out with a base price.
Yeah.
The base price is established for a septic tank and gravity location within 75 feet of where we place our line at the roadway. So let's say, for instance, in Golden Gate, if your septic tank's in the front yard and drain field, chances are you're within that 75-foot range. That right now is $8,000 base price.
So 11,000 plus 8,000 for hookup?
The assessment plus the physical connection on site, that would be correct.
So, 2177, $2,177.
Well, excuse me, would you want to come up and clarify then?
Yeah, if you want me to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I've stated it wrong, please come correct me.
So I have one more question. There was some grant money that you were able to ascertain and some funds from the State Revenue Department. Is that going to be additional, like grants that might come forward or any additional money from the State Revenue?
We will be reaching out for any grants that we can for the project. Presently, we have applied to the Indian River Lagoon Council for an available grant for this particular project. We're asking for approximately $2 million to assist with those physical connections on site from a residence or a duplex or whatever out to the roadway.
That was the one that we were just speaking of that you estimate at 8,000.
The one I was speaking of before, yes ma'am.
Okay.
We just don't know if we have that grant yet.
Yep. So that would be going directly towards the hookup fee versus the 11,000 assessment.
Yes, what I was quoting you is the total amount. Any additional grants, fees, or funds that we can help to buy that down, we're going to obviously offer it to the community, to individual property owners.
And then actively right now, you guys are working on just the one?
I'm sorry?
So the one that you're working on right now is from the Indian River Lagoon, the grant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. For this particular project.
Richard Capelli, what do you do if you have like 10 or 15 duplexes at $8,000 a piece? Do they expect you to do it all at once?
When the project is completed, we will send out notification and that you will have 365 days to connect. So obviously you can stagger those in any way you choose to get them done.
So you'd have to do all of them. You'd have to do all of them in that 1 year.
Yes, sir.
If you had 10, you'd have to do all of them in a year.
That's what the requirement would be, yes, sir.
Okay.
Greg Lyons. I heard you mention a septic tank abandonment fee.
Yes, sir.
What exactly is that and how much is it? And what does it actually mean?
The Martin County Health Department permits all septic tank and drain fields and private residential wells within the state of Florida, but in this particular case in Martin County. So if you're going to abandon the septic tank, since it's a vessel underground, concrete vessel, and you're going to leave it in place, there are certain Florida statute requirements for abandonment of that tank so that it's made sure that you won't leave an open hole underground. So you have the option of physically taking the whole tank out of the ground. Nobody ever chooses that option. The other option is to take the lid off the tank, pump out all the solids, they chlorinate the interior of the tank, punch holes in the bottom of the tank, the concrete tank, fold the walls in, throw the lid back in, and then fill it up to the ground surface with soil.
That sounds easy.
Yes, and that's proper
Simple.
abandonment.
Okay, and you're going to be putting like new meters at the end of the roads to take all the amounts of how much water we use and all that? I don't have water. I have a duplex and I don't have any water meters. I'm on well and septic. And so is there any way I can still use the well water in my water softening system, or do I have to have city water?
You do not have to have city water. The other option to that is our rate structure allows for what we call sewer-only connections. And so you would pay a flat amount, and I'm sorry I don't have the number. I want to say it's around $47 a month, a flat rate, because we have no way to gauge how much water you're using, therefore how much sewer is coming into our system.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
is this, Mike?
I just want to clarify that. The base connection rate or the base connection charge based on a 75-foot with a septic in the front or the side of the house is $2,177. Now, there's an additional charge if it's to the rear. Of course, with the project we have now, the properties are much larger, so we are, like Mr. Keithley said, we are going to rebid all this, so that base price could come down. But as of right now, this is what we're having to charge up in North River Shores. So $2,177 includes all the site restoration, all the permitting, which is done internally, the abandonment of the septic tank, and they do pierce out the bottom or crush the top based on the condition of the septic, fill it completely with dirt, resod everything, and complete the connection from the house to the road, including a clean out. So it's all, everything encompasses one price, includes everything. So that's the project we're running now. So yeah, everything's included in one price.
And what's that number?
It's $2,177.
And so I was thinking that was closer to 9, somewhere in the 8,000 range, but now you're saying it's over 2,000?
Yeah, it's just a little bit over $2,000. We have so many projects going on with all different facets of things, and sometimes it gets confusing, but you know, we have grinder programs, and then we have the vacuum, and this is something new for us. We've never really gone on the private property before to take projects over like this, but we're trying to do everything we can as a cost savings to the customer. So
So if it's within 75 feet,
within 75 feet,
one septic in the front,
yep,
what was the fee?
Can everybody here in the back?
it was $2,177. So that includes, like I said, the abandonment of the septic tank, all the site restoration, and the goal with the contractors that I manage up there is they put the property back to better condition than it was when they started. So in a lot of cases, you don't even know they were ever there.
That's a lot better than the past.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that. We have,
I think we are kind of scared.
That's a world.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a septic tank and a dose? Can you come up to the mic?
could you step up to the mic, please, sir? And we'd be happy to answer those questions, but it'd be nice if everyone could hear.
Put a working man back to work.
So I understand each property could be unique, but if you have something where you got a plastic septic tank that goes to a dosing tank and pushes it up to a drain field, I mean, are they going to look at it as two projects there on that property and
No.
charge me $2,175 times two?
No, we've got a full breakdown of costs. So basically, the way it's structured right now is that cost is from the road right away to 75 feet back, which pretty much encompasses the majority of the homes in the projects we're working in now. If you have a rear septic, there's a $177 upcharge just because it is some extra footage.
If it's in the back, it's a flat 177.
177 plus a footage charge based on the additional footage. Also, if you've got a secondary septic tank, like a dosing tank, or there's even homes with multiple septics, it's $477, and that includes the abandonment because the health department does want to be accounted for that second tank. It still shows in their inventory, so to speak. So without having permits and without having to add all the extra permits in, $477, they take care of the second dosing tank, they take it out of service, they abandon it, they fill it with dirt, they remove the pump.
Right.
So, and it also includes the site restoration for that too. So
Right, so if it's plastic, they're going to pump it, chlorinate it, fill it with sand, and call it done?
pop out the bottom so it retains no more liquid, and then seal it up and sod over the top of it like it was never there.
And then, so if you're on city water now, every gallon that goes through that meter for water you pay, you're going to pay the same for sewer.
I will answer that question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I can answer that question. For residential usage, the sewer is capped on the first 10,000 gallons of water you use. So if a residential unit paid or used 20,000 gallons of water, you would still only be charged on 10,000 gallons of water, for wastewater. So in the example I gave, our average customer uses about 6,000 gallons a month, so it's 6 times the wastewater rate, but that's capped at 10,000 gallons.
Well, if you're using more than 10,000 gallons of residential, there's a problem. So, all right, so it's basically every gallon in, under 10,000, I'm going to get billed going out,
For sewer?
regardless, right? That doesn't matter, you know?
No, sir.
Right, there's no difference if I'm drinking it, washing the car, pressure washing the house, it doesn't matter, right?
But
And-
we understand that you're a residential customer and that not all the water going into the house is coming back
Right,
out to the
right.
sewer system.
You got a tough job, Phil, you know, telling all these people they got to pay this money, so, you know, no disrespect, I'm just saying you're in a tough spot.
I've been doing this for 20 years.
What do you expect to pay, though? I mean, if you're running 5,000 or 6,000 gallons of water in city, what are you looking at paying for sewer? I mean, just a ballpark. Is it $40 on top of the water bill?
$46.12 if you're using the average of 6,000 gallons of water per month. That would be the wastewater rate. So whatever your water bill is, plus this wastewater rate.
Man.
Our average bill for water for this same amount is around $32 a month.
Right. I don't know your name, but can I talk to you privately when this is done? Because I got a unique situation on a structure there, so I don't need to do it here, do I?
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I talked to you on the phone, you don't recall, but that number was close to $9,000.
I understand, and I'm sorry for the confusion. I don't deal with the on-site stuff much every day, so I apologize. That's why we've got all these representatives here, so they can correct me.
Jan Del Corso. Phil, we have a lot of retired people in Golden Gate and some low-income people. Do you have any programs that would help them with paying this hookup charge?
I'll give you a little bit of history. There are funding mechanisms available. It just so happens that one of them, which is called our State Housing Initiative Program, for this particular year did not get funded by the governor. So every year we don't know if it's going to get funded or not. And I've been talking with one of your neighborhood advisory committee members, a very active member, and she suggested that I talk to you about possibly writing to your legislature or to the governor about funding that program. It's called the State Housing Initiative Program. If you meet certain home ownership requirements and income requirements, they will give you a grant, and I don't know what the total cap is, to allow these types of things to happen, like water and or sewer connections. And the way it works is, let's say you did borrow $10,000. For every year that you're in the home, they reduce the amount of that grant that they gave you by $2,000. So if you stay there for 5 years, it's totally forgiven, and you got your connections made.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? We have a taker.
I'm John Graves, and I was wondering about, so it's with the duplex scenario, it's just one hookup?
Yes, sir. The way our rate structure works is every residential unit under one common roof, for instance, single-family home, one equivalent residential connection. For the case of a duplex, each half of the unit under one roof is half of an ERC, so combined it's one equivalent residential connection. For a triplex, it would be 1.5 times the number. Quadruplex, 2 times the number, and so on and so on.
And so I understand you bill the sewer through the water bill. And
Yes, sir.
with the duplex, they pay 2 separate water bills.
It would depend upon how the accounts are set up now by the water meters. So if they have individual water meters, they will pay a sewer charge based upon that water
Just
meter
cut in
usage.
half. Just cut in half. Okay, I think that's it.
Shelley Polk. So you said, sir, that if it's 75 feet, it's $177.
No, 75 feet
Yep,
is $21.77 for the entire.
okay. But there was an extra charge, because ours is like 150 feet. It's at the total opposite end of where you're putting it.
Yeah.
Our septic tank is.
Well, we haven't started construction on it yet, so we can, the engineers are back there.
And one thing I would like to make clear tonight, the numbers that he's quoting to you right now is based upon our existing contract with
Right.
plumbers, and we will obviously go out to bid again before this project is completed. So please use these numbers as a go-by. It won't be the exact numbers when we get out
Right.
2 years from now.
No, I understand that. It's just that ours is nowhere near to the front of the house. It's in the
I
back
understand.
of that corner of the house.
I
So,
understand.
where you're putting it into where it is now is not even close. But whatever that amount of money ends up being, we have to pay that up front, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. That was it.
Well, as I stated earlier, we're hoping that there are going to be some additional funding mechanisms for people that qualify for it, like the State Housing Initiative Program, the Indian River Lagoon grant that we've applied for presently, we hope is going to come through, and those monies would be available to help buy down that connection cost on site. So right now, we're just waiting to see what happens. Yes, sir.
I don't, sir. Edward. I want to know, I live in Golden Gate. I've been living there for 25 years. How about if somebody is living in Wastewater? It still apply?
I'm sorry, I can't understand. Can you
Somebody-
get a little closer to the mic?
If someone living on Wastewater? Wastewater,
Okay, yes, sir. Someone on well water.
you still got to pay the fee for the connection, or?
You would still have to pay for the connection to the wastewater system. Yes, sir. And then you would be billed on a monthly basis for a flat sewer charge because we wouldn't have a meter on the well water to determine how much water you're using.
I see. And what they're gonna do some frontage or the canal for the evacuation of the wastewater?
All of our collection system will be out along the roadway up to your property line, and we will provide a service lateral based upon where your septic tank is located and try to get it in the best location to have the shortest distance to serve your property.
I see. And that is all include the connection from the septic tank to the main sewerage?
That will be done after we complete construction. When we complete, you'll have an additional year to get that work completed, whether you go through a plumbing contractor yourself or if you come through Martin County Utilities and pay us to go manage a plumber to do that work.
And do you have some available facility monthly you pay toward your bill or toward your taxes and said if you don't have the whole money?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
Or it could through your taxes?
On the connection on site itself, you would have to make that up front. But as I've explained, we're hoping that we're going to have some funding mechanisms available where you can apply for it, and they would help you and assist you to make that payment to us.
Yeah. And so far the connection is like 11,000 some change, no?
Every property owner that's benefited by this project we're talking about tonight is required to pay that base amount of $11,561 per equivalent residential connection.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And if someone has a vacant lot, now water using already, still got to pay for that?
If it's a vacant lot and it's zoned residential, they will also pay that $11,561, just like anybody else.
But it's not connected, there's no septic tank, nothing.
The property still benefits from that sewer connection because when something is built on that property, they will have availability of sewer service.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. Anybody else?
So I have 3 lots but only one house.
The invitation that you received, is there only one parcel control number for all 3 of the lots?
No idea.
The reason I ask is the 3 properties may be under what's called unity of title, so it's just recognized as one property, and therefore if you have one structure on that whole entire property, you're paying one equivalent residential connection, as which should be identified on your invitation.
So under the parcel control number, there's 2 numbers.
Let me see your paperwork.
Sure.
On the 3rd page of the invitation, it looks kind of like an invoice, and it says, "Send no money now." This is not an invoice. It states that the total of number of ERCs attributable to your property is 1. Therefore, your initial prepayment amount is $11,561. So I'm assuming here, I mean, I can research it in the back, the chances are the 3 parcels you're talking about under what's called a unity of title.
That's good news.
Getting him toward the 1.
Do we have any other takers?
Rio, Martin Ave. A friend of mine had a house on a lot and owned the lot next to it. Paid nothing for hookup for water or sewer. So would I assume that there was a grant for that?
Out of the blue, I don't want to answer incorrectly, but my recollection when it was done many, many years ago was done through what's called a community development block grant, where they pay the actual connection charges for the property. And also the Community Redevelopment Agency contributed tax incremental funding from that area to pay for construction of the sewer system and the water system.
Okay. Because there's not a ton of houses there, but...
No, sir, it used to be a mobile home park, and now it's kind of dwindling, and I'm sure the properties have a lot more value now. It's probably more like a single-family residential unit.
It is. Did
Yes,
the
sir.
county acquire that mobile home park? I wonder if the county
no,
acquired
sir.
it. No, okay.
It's just going through the natural course of things.
Okay.
If anybody's interested, while the engineers are waiting in the back, if you wanted to take a look at plans to see where the service lateral is going to be located for your property, please go and meet with them at your convenience. Looks like we're starting to wrap up. I'll ask if there's any more questions. Looks like we're going to get one more in here. Is it all right if I meet with you individually and talk to answer your question? Oh, we have 2 questions or not?
I want to know when they're going to start the project. 2 years from now?
The board is hopefully going to adopt the final assessment resolution on September the 15th.
This year.
Yes, sir, this month. And then we hope to start construction by no later than the first week of November of this year.
Oh,
All right, sir?
okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. Oh, wait, we have one more question.
Where is the lift station going to be located? Do you know exactly what street and what lot, or or the pumping station?
Yes, sir. This system is called a vacuum-assisted gravity sewer system. So it does have a centrally located vacuum pumping facility. The entire collection system is under a vacuum. It flows by gravity, but then has vacuum assist to take it to a centrally located building, which is located on across the street from the Civic Center. And I'm trying to think of the letter of the roadway there. On the south side. From there, it's pumped into a sewage force main, which will transport the wastewater all the way out to Tropical Farms, to our Tropical Farms wastewater facility for treatment.
Oh, wow. I figured you would go to the one on A1A north of us going towards the courthouse on the left-hand side there.
That is a water facility.
There's a water treatment?
It's a water tank.
Oh, so it doesn't do sewer
And it's
there.
just a pumping facility. It's to allow us to pump water either north or south. It's interconnected to
Oh,
the
okay.
overall system.
I thought it
but
was-
it's not a wastewater treatment
Oh, I thought
facility.
it was. I always thought it was both, like a
Sure.
dual thing. Okay,
Understand. All right. Well, thank you very much for attending. If you have any further questions, please meet with us individually, and we'll try to answer whatever we can. Thanks again for your attendance.